But we do understand that the ego is necessary for survival here. We need it. That's how we survive. So we understand that it's necessary. But what we also should understand now is that it has dominated us. Because this system that I was teaching you last week really doesn't pertain to white folks. They don't understand it. So therefore, they went with all they had, which is their ego, which is their conscious thought. They come to believe that that is them. And as a reaction, we've come to believe the same thing. Hold on. As a reaction, we come to believe the same thing. That all we are is our ego, our false self. Something that's in survival mode and could never be satisfied, can never be content, and will never find what it's looking for. It is always adapting. It is always changing. Why? Because as I pointed out, it's in survival mode. And as soon as the environment changes, your whole perspective on life will change. They tell you terrorism, you have a whole new perspective. They tell you to be safe, you have a whole new perspective. Because your ego is going to adapt to survive with the environment. Your true self is a whole, and your true self has been suppressed for far too long. We no longer know how to raise up or speak to, add to, enrich that part of ourself which is real and which transcends the ego. So we have now learned the differences between the two. So moving forward in this class, what you learn is methodologies on how to enhance that part of you that matters. So we're not here to enhance the ego. Ego's fine all by itself. We're here to raise up your spiritual side. So therefore, we're here to learn methodologies that transcend conscious ego or bypass the conscious ego to raise up that which is real. Transcend your conscious ego to raise up that which is real. So the first thing we know or learned was the basics. The basics is how that part of you, all right, how that part of you communicates and how that part of you takes in information. We learned that through repetition, trauma, and symbols. Primarily, we deal with symbols. So we're going to deal with symbols because that's pretty much the thing you can control as most. Everything is a symbol around you. Let's even look at it this way if you want to get a little bit more intricate on symbols. Certain designers, there's about 1,000 designers that make boots. But certain designers have their icons or their names. If their name sounds fancy enough, their names to become a symbol of quality, let's just say. Louis Vuitton's icon or symbol now becomes a symbol of quality. If you were questioning, let's just say, the status of Nakia, in terms of her finances, if this was such a shallow thing, see her at the club and want to know exactly what type of chick she is, if she's wearing a Louis Vuitton suit or whomever, and you know that Louis Vuitton suit costs $4,000, then that symbol or that icon that she's wearing tells you 1,000 words about how she lives. And she could be fronting, but that's probably a hard ass front to front on, to be broke and have a $4,000 suit. So you gotta assume if she could spend $4,000 on clothes, she's spending more on where she lives, on her car, and on her lifestyle, basically. So that one symbol, or Louis Vuitton worked hard to make his symbol represent quality. So within the realm of spirituality, everything you have around you, especially in your home or on you, represents a symbol of where your mind is. That's why these hieroglyphs, this Haru symbol, and all the rest of that represents where your mind is. And that takes us into, well, what about Baphomet and these skulls and these dark things? Well, while we're here and on the subject, the occultist understands these so-called darker images speak to the deeper aspects of your subconscious mind. So therefore, when you're dealing with what we consider to be darker, it's usually the more advanced person dealing with his symbology. The less advanced person is the one with the pictures of them black people up on his wall where the woman is pregnant and the earth is in her stomach and they're holding up the little black baby with two hands, and the black man you just see his back as he's hugging the black woman or rubbing her pregnant stomach. All those type of pictures are cute, but they don't challenge you. They don't challenge anything. They don't take you deeper. These so-called dark pictures take you deeper. So that's the purpose of that. The more complex the symbol, the more sophisticated the conversation is that you're having with your own mind. The more sophisticated the conversation usually means the more darker or ancient the image. So, if we understand we're having a conversation each time we invoke or create a symbol, then we understand the process of talking to that part of ourselves that we're trying to raise up. What mentality should you have? Well, the mentality you should have is that your subconscious mind is sleeping, which it is. Not only do they tell you all of this in mythologies, they tell you you can understand this through a common sense approach. If your subconscious mind was up and awake, somebody needs to meet their computer, probably a manual. If somebody was up and awake, and you haven't been, and we were, when we ran the planet as black folks under our culture, it stands to reason that that part of you that was used to run the planet has gone to sleep, just for the mere fact that you haven't been running the planet for quite some time. So you haven't been exercising that portion of your mind needed, that dominates. That portion of your mind that dominates has been sleeping as you've been in slavery. So the conscious people are the people who are waking up out of that sleep and looking for the necessary nourishment to first take control of your life before we can even run the planet. So when black people are asking me for finances, because they know that's step one in empowering yourself. Here's the trick. When you go for spiritual light, ironically, all those things on earth will start to straighten out. You may not even see how one thing connects to the next, but it does. Your finances, your personal power. Once you get that out the way, and it's not your whole reason for existing, material wealth, once you get that out the way, you are then able to empower others so they can be, you can say, financially free at least, to then start transforming the planet again. So we want to transfer the planet before we can actually get financially free. The problem is we put financially free at the head of the table when actually when you deal with true spiritual freedom, your financial freedom is a side effect.